Hello, Don in London. It's 10th of March 2013. My video is all about recovery from addiction to substances and behaviour. My addictive substance, in the main, alcohol, coffee, tea, nicotine, you name it. I could be addicted to anything. And my behaviour around people, places and things, trying to be perfect with the people I encountered so that they would like me or love me. And missing the point of being in the moment of now, always thinking that once I'm perfectly acceptable to you, life will be okay. So I was a bit of a chameleon. I would try and fit in. I didn't want to be lonely, I didn't want to be on my own. But more often than not, I ended up on my own, and alcohol became my best friend. First it was convivial and joyful and easy, and it suppressed the feelings of loneliness. And when I was absolutely full of love for a girl, she probably wandered off or ran away because I was persistently trying to improve life and our situation, rather than to enjoy the situation and let it just happen. So I've learned a lot over the years what it is to live now, rather than put things off till later, or tomorrow it will be okay. Why can't it be okay today? So how did I stop drinking? Well, not on my own. Professional help to get me dry, to be a dry drunk. And then I needed help to find my way. And the professionals who got me dry suggested I try a fellowship, and that fellowship is and remains Alcoholics Anonymous. So AA, the fellowship of AA, helped me find a way to live. Or rather, the people in the fellowship helped me find a way to live, because it's the people in the fellowship who make the difference one day at a time. I don't speak for anybody in AA, I only speak for myself. So if you are in fellowship, you know I don't speak for you. You speak for yourself where you choose, and you share your experience, strength and hope where is appropriate for you. And if you're new to the idea of a fellowship, and you're out there lonely and confused, or just simply out there drinking and you want a way out, there is a way out, but it takes a bit of courage, a bit of faith, and just enough confidence to say, okay, I don't know the answer to my problem. Maybe other people have an answer which will help me find my own path, because I didn't get into recovery to be like everybody else. I got into recovery to find out who I can be right now, and find direction where I want to go, or where I need to go. And once I got sober, I suddenly realised I can find my path one day at a time. So nobody's telling me what to do. I'm not burdened with old ideas. I'm not burdened by having to follow a particular pattern which other people instruct me to take. AA is none of those things. It's there to get you sober, and then you choose what you want to do. Now, how cool is that? Well, as somebody said yesterday, who was 20 years sober, it's pretty groovy, and they've made a life, just a simple life, which is complicated by all sorts of things, which are interesting to them. So, what is AA, and why do I talk about it? Because if you don't know about it, it's worth having a look, and if you're in it, just some words of what's been happening, some reflections which may be helpful if you can't get to a meeting. So I relate about how life is going on. First though, I share the AA preamble, so there is no doubt what AA is and what it can do, and it's in 2 paragraphs, and it reads as this: Alcoholics Anonymous is a fellowship of men and women who share their experience, strength and hope with each other, that they may solve their common problem and help others to recover from alcoholism. And if you go to any other fellowship, the same applies. So whether it's for narcotics or eating or whatever it is that you're addicted to, you'll probably find there is a fellowship out there trying to help you recover from whatever it is. The only requirement for membership is a desire to stop drinking. There are no dues or fees for AA membership. We are self-supporting through our own contributions. AA is not allied, and this is most important. You can be all of these things, but this is what AA does not do. AA is not allied with any sect, religious sect, or any sect, denomination, politics, any particular party, any organisation or institution, does not wish to engage in any controversy. So this is what the fellowship is, not what you are. Neither endorses nor opposes any causes. But you can do all of those things in your life and find new sects to join, new denominations to join political parties, join organisations or institutions, engage in controversy, endorse or oppose things which you feel is appropriate to you. So the freedom to be yourself. But AA is only there for one thing. Our primary purpose is to stay sober and help other alcoholics to achieve sobriety. So whatever your beliefs and opinions are, keep them, if they're working for you, of course. And don't undermine yourself or think you have to be like other people within fellowship. We value diversity above all. Well, that's me. I feel that I feel that the fellowship of AA is full of diverse people with so many different backgrounds, opinions, causes, politics, and religions. You'll fit right in, because nobody is there to convert you to anything. All you're there to do is find sobriety. And I found a lot more besides, which includes a way to live and find my freedom again, to be a person who can change, have a bit of faith in life and people, and gain confidence. So even if I make a mess of things, I can pick myself up, share my problems, and get some solutions, often from others. So it's about being a fully working human again, rather than a human who is trapped and isolated by being one way, an alcoholic or an addict or whatever it is. We need to be open. Well, I needed to be able to open up to life again. Anyway, my reflections this morning, and just so you know, there are daily reflections from millions of people now in recovery, out and about, and tens of thousands, if not millions, are connected via social networks or by websites where people share their experience, strength and hope. So thankfully, I'm certainly not the only answer. In fact, I'm not the answer, I'm just sharing how it is for me. So for March 10th, 2013, what's rattling around in my head? All about your higher power. Now, my old life seemed to have a lot of fear, pride and ego in it. And my new life these days is more about courage to change, faith in doing the next right thing, and the confidence to try, make mistakes, and ask for help when I need it. And even when I don't need it, seek counsel for good decisions. So it's always a good idea to bounce ideas off someone. You know, it's what I used to do in my old career. I didn't normally come up with the ideas myself. I got joined up understanding from everybody and then shared it to see if they would like to do things that way. So the old life embodied, anyway, yes, make mistakes, and when I need to ask for help, I can. This is what I can do now. The old life embodied in step 6 of the 12 steps. Now step 6, which is far away from step 3, step 6 for me is all about the defects of character, or my liabilities, my personality traits which were liabilities in the end. Overwhelming fear, ego covering up, and pride getting in the way. So those were the things which kept on sending me down and down. I didn't want to admit my problem, and even when I knew I had the problem, I didn't want to admit it, that I couldn't do it on my own, get myself out of it, like I always did in the past. And then the old life, that's step 6, the new life embodied in step 7 of the 12 steps, learning a new way to live one day at a time. And the new way to live one day at a time, I take account of this. Sometimes my courage may be knocked, my faith in doing the next right thing might be knocked, and my confidence might be undermined either by me or by someone else. If I go to fellowship, where I express what's going on, share the experience of now, 9 times out of 10, somebody will come up with an idea and tap me on the shoulder and say, have you thought about this, Don? And the answer could be, yes, I have. And I'm not sure if I should do that. Well, why not try? And it doesn't matter if it doesn't work, does it? Because it can't get any worse, can it? And the answer is no, it probably can't get any worse, because I'm feeling the fear. Pride and ego are getting in the way. So it's like this at 6s and 7s in my life. Fear, pride and ego can come back. And equally, courage, faith and confidence can grow. So liabilities, fear, pride and ego. Assets, courage, faith and confidence. And that's about step 6 and 7. The first 6 steps of the programme are about the old ways, and the last 6 steps of the programme about new ways. So just as a brief summary, step 1, powerless over alcohol, take a drink and life will get unmanageable. Step 2, came to believe that a power greater than me could restore me to sanity, and that proved to be the wisdom of others, truth, love and wisdom of others. Step 3, a higher power in my life, let go and let people help me, the higher power being the truth, love and wisdom which surrounds me all the time, if only I could ask for it. Step 4 is the fearless moral inventory to understand my assets and liabilities. Step 5, all about sharing the truth of me with another human being. And step 6 is the catalogue of liabilities I have. And step 7, well no, step 6 is also about the assets. So understand where fear, pride and ego will take me as liabilities, but also understand my assets, or my shortcomings in step 7, not enough. Shortcomings just means I haven't got enough of them on a daily basis. This is how I see it. Step 7, all I need is a bit more courage, faith and confidence based on love from others helping me. So it's not all about me, it's a joint effort, rather than the joint committee that used to live in here. All the voices saying, you're useless, or you're great, but we want you to do something else, or you can't be truthful because if you are, we'll kill you, all that sort of stuff. So the inner voices in my head, or the inner voice which of doubt, can be an inner voice of faith. Go ask people what they think. Get a bigger perspective of my life today. And then step 8, that list of amends, and make a list of amends to people I've harmed in the past and be willing to make them. And step 9 is actually making some amends appropriately without doing further harm. Step 10, again about the new life, spot check inventory. What's going on now? How do I feel about it? Good and bad. What's the big picture? Step 11, a bit of daily reflection, some called prayer and meditation, and having a conscious contact with your higher power. And I normally get that through people, truth, love and wisdom in the moment of now. And then step 12, all about the 12 steps in action, and sharing it so other people can have an idea of how to be sober, how to get happy, but also how to deal with good, bad and ugly. So life in recovery is not, it is not all good. How can it be? Life is full of tragedy as much as it is full of love. And we come to terms with it on a daily basis. And if it's too big, like death of a friend or a family member or your partner, that takes time. It takes a lifetime to learn how to cherish the memories and forget maybe some of the other parts of what went on. So that's the 12 steps. I hadn't really thought about doing that, but I just thought I'd better mention it. Anyway, back to what I was pondering on this morning. A meeting at the spiritual hut. I call it a spiritual hut. It is an old scout hut, which is now a nursery during the day, Monday to Friday, and evenings and weekends it tends to have recovering alcoholics sharing experience, strength and hope in different types of meeting. But on a Saturday lunch, it's spiritual to me. I call it spiritual hut because most of the time, this is on the Saturday lunchtime, it is about the spiritual experience described in Appendix 2 of the Big Book. I like to listen to somebody read this appendix, which is barely 2 pages long. Listening rather than reading is good. It's a good way to keep hearing the words weekly and how their meaning can change through time and what the meaning is for other people as well. When I first got to AA, I had no conscious contact with a higher power, and many people seem to have God consciousness, which I could not experience. I don't know how God works in your life, or does not work in your life. It is not for me to judge. I am content that God is truth, God is love, and God is wisdom shared by the many. And that God, truth and love, is always in the moment and always changing, as everyone changes with wisdom learned from reality. So the nature of love and how we love people, we may grow to love people in different ways. And that's normal. Or we may fall out of love in a deep sense, but still love them, but still don't know what to do about it. So love is ever changing. It's always in the moment and always changing, as everyone changes with wisdom learned and the experience of reality. The spiritual experience, in my understanding, is now, living in the now. Life on life's terms, the truth of now, love in the moment of now, always changing and always evolving, whether life is good, bad or ugly, or any combination we can experience today. So you may have some hateful thoughts about the way someone is behaving towards you, especially if you love them and they've told you they love you, and then they behave despicably, and you wonder why. Well, it could be that we have done something, or it could be that they are just rattling their own cage. We don't know until we discuss it. And then we may never find out the reason, because they don't know the reason either. So that is the nature of life. It keeps on changing. The reality keeps on changing. The spiritual hut, the person sharing first, 20 years sober on that day. The spiritual experience described as all about action. That's what they felt, action. Realizing that progress is made, and that is the perfect recipe. The perfect recipe, but it's not about perfection. It is about hard work, the journey one day at a time. And although life is hard and difficult, that is what makes it worthwhile. And especially in fellowship, finding a way to be sober, finding how to live in the company of other people, and being able to work and learn from each other, has proved to be a sound foundation for living. People got to hear that the person speaking, this is before the meeting, they were 20 years sober that day, and the meeting was rather larger than usual, because after 20 years they know a lot of people, and a lot of people love them. So quite a lot of people there. And outside, the biggest crane I've ever seen in Chelsea, that's in London, UK, was being erected with all the bumps and grinds of metal on metal, the noises off outside, fitted perfectly with the share in the room. So, as if to emphasise some points, there was a bang and a crash from outside. It was almost like a drum roll. It made everybody laugh. We can see the funny side of it. We're not complaining about a crane bashing away outside. We're laughing at it. But some meetings will get really upset about that and complain. Can't complain about a crane. Powerless over it. It is really good to be part of something bigger than me. No longer alone, trying to make life work with fear, pride and ego as my company. In the company of strangers to start with in fellowship, and then through whatever time it takes, the strangers, for the most part, become friends and fellow travellers, trudging the road of happy, sometimes good, bad or ugly, destiny. So we go through all the traumas, tribulations, and I've had friends die recently, not of the illness of alcoholism, but just of old age or other ailments which are chronic. But they were alive long enough to get them, like I was. So, out of isolation, learning about courage to change, faith in doing the next right thing, whatever it may be, and the confidence to keep on trying to live a new life which becomes clearer and more realistic. So life gets clearer and more realistic the further into sobriety we go, because what's the point of living a fantasy? What's the point in living in dreams which are beyond our grasp? We can still have fantasies, of course. And by the way, I didn't win the lottery last night. So over and over, people relate their feelings, and some people relate just how hard it is to share their feelings, because they fear the ridicule of the many, or being a wimp. Those who share their feelings emphatically are not wimps, they're just telling the truth. And when we look at the way we make a virtue out of single endeavours, often in our society, We make a virtue out of single endeavours taken to extremes through sport, business and being number one. Feelings always get trampled, and those who share them can be ridiculed, or so the fearful think. And worse, for those who have made it, now I'm there, I've got there in the end, why do I feel so empty? Unless, of course, fear, pride and ego rule you, then self-satisfaction is your only reward. And it's very lonely, is self-satisfaction. The higher power, your higher power, it needs to be yours and understood as best you can. So long as you are not your higher power, driven by ego, pride and fear. Truth and love, shared by the many and constantly evolving, is my higher power. Being a part of something bigger than me, life. As God works through people who have much more wisdom and experience than one person, especially me, we can find better ways forward in our personal ambitions, as well as relating and being part of life generally. And the question which I guess everybody needs to work out is, what is the balance in life? What is the balance in life? I don't know what it's going to be for you, and I only need to work it out on a daily basis for me. Mastery of one thing, well, go back a bit, jack of all trades and master of none. That could be one way. Master of one and no other trade in life could be another. Mastery of one thing, good or bad, to the exclusion of broader wisdom, is no help when that mastery of one thing has burned out. And that certainly happened to me. And when we have burned out, how do we get back on the road, start again with a new outlook? Without the help of others, people, places and things, the ending is often sooner rather than later. No amount of past glory will ever satisfy the soul. If we could ask Amy Winehouse that, I guess she would say that is true. And heartbreak as well. We never learn it, and if we're at the extreme of being one way, and we're burned out and broken, the way back is dreadfully hard. The new life, courage to change, faith in the next right thing, and confidence to keep on trying. All about the endeavour day to day, forming new relationships, being able to see a broader picture, and see how we can be included in so many ways. From isolation to inclusion is quite a difficult thing. From self-loathing to self-confidence, it doesn't happen overnight, but we make a little bit of incremental change, trying new things out. Learning how to love, learning how to forgive oneself and other people, learning how to make mistakes, and learning not to judge with fatality. Right, I'm judging you so hard, I'm cutting you out. Maybe we don't like people and don't seek out their company, but we don't have to make it a death-defying objective. We can love people and hate their behaviour. We can love people who are long gone and they still shape our lives. Otherwise we wouldn't have religious books, would we? There is endless capacity to keep on learning and changing, with courage, faith and enough confidence, one day at a time. Someone mentioned yesterday that there was a poster stuck on the wall in many meetings which said, think, think, think. And this poster was upside down in their opinion, because it was put on the wall with think, think, think upside down, because the words were posted upside down. And they said it really annoyed them because the word think should have been the right way up. And only later did they realise that the suggestion was to stop thinking and start feeling. No matter how you try to force the idea that thinking comes first, it does not either in our conscious or subconscious mind. Whatever is going on, we have a mood going on, our emotions, and our mood impacts on how we think and the actions that follow. So if you're in angry denial about your thinking comes first, I'm a thinking logical person, actually behind it, your thinking is your mood. Oh, I can divorce myself from my feelings, but why on earth would you? Now, it's a good question for me as well. Would you want an emotional surgeon doing an operation? Well, I want them to have enough emotion to want to save my life and not to be an experiment. A bus driver love you? Not to crash the bus? I don't know. These are questions. But whatever mood these people are in will impact on their thinking and their skill and ability to take action. That's not actually written there because I just made it up. But it follows on from what I've been writing this morning. So often we deny our feelings and prefer to think things through without reference to the feelings behind everything, which would be better served if we really knew the meaning of love. How to love, be loved back, and not to shrink away from the obvious truth of now. The obvious truth of now, love is all you need. Of course, and I say this now, of course, enough food and a roof over your head helps. Because some of us don't have those things in our lives some of the time, and I didn't for quite a while. Self-imposed exile, because I didn't think I was good enough anymore. That I was better off living in the park or underneath a building where it was actually warm, because the building was kept warm for a particular reason. Not a good way to live, hiding away, pretending to be okay, pride, ego. Just enough decent clothes to sneak into hotels and use their washing facilities, or get to the washing facilities, go up in the lift, find a room which is being cleaned, have a bath. It can be done. I wouldn't recommend it. People don't like it if you do that, and of course you are on CCTV, so if you do it too often they'll find you out. Honestly, they will. But we make do with what we can do sometimes, and it's not an easy life. So I prefer to be sober, with a bit of courage, faith and confidence. I also know that my fear, my pride and ego can come back. So this step 6-7 business, the first 6 steps of recovery, all about the old life and resolving what happened. And the next 6 steps, all about the moment of now, when anything could happen, if I'm open to it. But if I close down and get fearful, nothing will happen, because everything will go round and round and round in my head, and nothing new will occur. So every day is a learning day, and it's good that it is. And if people say, haven't you learned that by now, at your age? I just say, well, life experience didn't offer those experiences of learning. So here I am, at my age, learning from the start in some endeavours. And why not? It's just for today. The serenity prayer, which helps me any time of day, what I can do and cannot do, and the wisdom to know the difference. It's about acceptance of reality. If I accept reality the way it is and don't deny it, I can be restored to sanity and find a bit of serenity, even when the world is mad and in chaos. There is still serenity about what I can do and what I can't do, and not get upset by not being as powerful as I thought I ought to be. Some things can only be done by the whole society, by voting or whatever. I can't change the world. I can only change me and my attitudes today and share them. So generally, how do I feel? I see so many people, millions, there in grief about Chavez. I see a bunch of cardinals going into a locked room to ruminate about which of them, no outside influences, of course. And one cardinal can't go because of his bad behaviour. And he said he was very sorry for it, but denied it for years and vilified other people for their particular personal outlooks. That's not good. What's good in my life? Everything. Where I can change something in me and my attitudes, like do the washing up, get washed, shave, be happy, write something, be a part of, see the spiritual experience in the moment of now, truth, love and wisdom in the moment of now. I can love people today. I'm still finding it difficult. How do people love me back? And I was asked, is there anything you need? And I said, no, your company is fine. Just be you out there in the world, and just keep on, keep on being yourself. Be you and love your life. Why not? It's the only one you've got. So that serenity prayer to God, or in good conscience, or whatever floats your boat. Whatever is right for you, your choices, your freedom today. God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change. Courage to change the things I can. And the wisdom to know the difference, learned today in the moment of now.